Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
After defeating Superman and leaving him for dead on a lonely beach, Henry Miller discovered that the solution of kryptonite in his blood, which transformed him into an atom man able to generate terrific atomic power, had been exhausted in the Titanic battle. Determined to destroy Germany's enemies, Miller called on a strange fat man named Sidney, the money-hungry creator of the Nazi spy system, and told him that a woman called the Scarlet Widow possessed the only remaining kryptonite in the world. Seeing an opportunity for untold wealth, Sidney agreed to try to get the kryptonite. As we continue now, the gaunt, ugly widow and her little cockney henchman Sniggers are in their hideout behind an innocent-appearing book and gift shop in Metropolis. It is just after midnight, and both of them, contemplating a huge pile of crisp banknotes, are in high spirits. Listen.
$2 million. And when Pepper Rouse gets here, we'll have $3 million. We're rich, widow. We're rich.
Yes, I'm a happy woman tonight, Sniggers. I've got money again, power. And the only man who ever double-crossed me, der Teufel, is dead.
All on account of that little piece of kryptonite I copped out of the Metropolis Museum that night. Who'd ever have thought it'd bring us all this money?
I told you it would. I knew the Vulture and Papa Rausch and the Laugher would pay me almost anything I asked for the power to control Superman.
You was right, widow. You're always right. I never seen blokes fork up $1 million so fast as the Vulture and the Laugher when you give 'em their pieces of the blooming staff tonight. When's Pepper Rouse coming for his?
He said he'd be here within the hour.
Good. Then we can up it out of this dump. Where we go?
I was thinking of the Argentine. Fleischman writes there are lots of opportunities down there.
Hey, that sounds good to me, widow. We'll have a high old time with all that money.
What? Someone's at the door.
Hey, must be Pepper Rouse. I'll let him in.
Wait. It may not be Rausch.
It must be. You said he was coming right away.
Not so loud, you...
Sure it's Pepper Rouse. Who else can it be?
How do I know? It might be the police.
The police?
Or some of our friends who found out we've got all this money. We are not taking any chances. Quick, help me get the money into this drawer.
All right. Nobody ain't going to take this all away from us now, sir.
There. Be careful now. Walk quietly to the door.
All I'm saying is it better be nobody except Pepper Rouse.
Quiet. Stand to one side of the door. Who is it?
An old friend, widow. Sidney.
Sidney? How did he ever find us?
He can find anyone. I wonder what he wants.
Aren't you going to let me in, my dear?
Don't let him in. I don't trust that fat bloke.
I'm not afraid of him. Open the door.
No, widow, he's smart. He's after the money. He'll steal it from us.
He won't steal it from me. Open the door.
Well, all right, but I don't like it.
Good evening, widow. Just as lovely as ever.
And you're as fat as ever, Sidney. Close the door, Sniggers.
Oh, yes. The ever-faithful Sniggers. Cheerio, old chappie.
Hello, Sidney.
What brings you here so late at night?
It is late, isn't it? Well, I'll sit down if you don't mind. Oh. Now we get to business.
What business?
I'll come right to the point, my dear. I understand that you have some kryptonite.
How did you know?
How did I know? What a silly question, Sniggers. I know everything. You were about to say something, widow.
I did have it, Sidney. It's gone now.
Gone?
Yes, I sold it.
All of it? All 3 pieces?
That's right.
You're lying, my dear.
No, she ain't. We sold
Shut
it
up, Sniggers. None of his business whom we sold them to.
Quite right. If you sold all 3 pieces. But I don't believe you did.
Why?
And because, as I understand it, kryptonite is Superman's mortal enemy. He's helpless in its presence. Yeah, of course you know this, or you wouldn't have stolen the fragment in the first place.
Who said we stole it?
Please tell this fool to be quiet.
Shut up, Sniggers. Go ahead, Sidney.
You knew that you could get a tremendous price for the kryptonite from Superman's enemies. If you had already disposed of all of it, as you say, you wouldn't be hiding in Metropolis with the police looking for you.
I won't beat around the bush with you, Sidney.
It wouldn't be healthy, my dear.
I'm not afraid of you, but we've done a lot of business together, so I'll tell you the truth. I've already sold 2 of the pieces of kryptonite. The third and last piece is promised to a man who'll be here to get it and pay me for it tonight.
I knew all of it wasn't gone. I want that last piece, Widow.
Impossible, Sidney. This man is too powerful to make an enemy of. I'm sorry.
No man is powerful when he's dead.
This bloke ain't dead. Hey,
I realize that, but it might be easily arranged. You see?
Now look here, Sidney. I don't want to get mixed up with any of your Gestapo tactics. I played a long and dangerous game, and I've won. Now I intend to leave the country, safely, with my money.
and that's right it is.
My dear Widow, I assure you that if you sell the kryptonite to me, you'll be taking no chances.
I'm not so sure.
But if you don't, I doubt that you'll leave this country at all.
What?
I've told you before, Sidney, you can't scare me.
I've no intention of scaring you, my dear. I only wish to point out that unless you sell me that last piece of kryptonite, the police will be informed of where you are. And if you leave here without my permission, they'll be kept informed of your movements until they catch up with you. I think you know me and my organization well enough to realize that even you can't hide from us long.
I'll fix you.
I wouldn't try to use that knife, Sniggers, if I were you. Apart from the fact that I'd shoot you first, my man Cheeto's outside.
Cheeto?
Exactly. Well, Widow, you always think quickly. What do you say?
I think I'd enjoy killing you, Sidney.
But of course you're much too sensible to try.
Yes. All right. You win, on one condition.
What's that?
You'll pay me the same price I was to get from my other customer. $1 million.
Well, that's a great deal of money.
Take it or leave it.
Oh, I'll take it. Frankly, I expect to make much, much more than that with the stuff. Much, much more. Oh, well, I must be going. Just one thing more. The man you're expecting tonight. What's his name?
Papa Rausch. You know him?
Yes, of course. If you'll open the door, please, Sniggers, I'll leave and make the necessary arrangements for Papa Rausch.
Righto. I'll be glad to see the last of you, I will.
I'll return later for the kryptonite.
I'll be here.
I'm sure you will. Good night, Widow. Good night, Sniggers.
Smiling pleasantly, Sidney waddles through the door to arrange a murder, and so get possession of the kryptonite which will once again transform Henry Miller into a deadly atom man. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. As Sidney, the fat man, was preparing to obtain possession of the last piece of kryptonite, Jimmy Olsen, who had returned to Metropolis, has just come back to the village of Linwood, summoned by Sheriff Simpson. And as we join them, the boy reporter and the sheriff are now entering the hospital where Superman had been brought from the beach where he had been found near death after his mighty battle with the Atom Man.
Oh, who is this man you want me to see, Sheriff?
Well, pretty sure this is the fellow you saw on the beach yesterday, Olson, with Miller and Teufel. We're hoping you can identify him. Here, up these stairs.
Oh, but gosh, Sheriff, I didn't see his face.
Well, anyhow, seeing as how you was mixed up in it, might just be you know this fella. Doc Bruce and that specialist they had out from Metropolis say he won't last through the night. We'd like to know who he is so we can get in touch with his family.
Gee, the poor guy.
Yeah, this way. His room's right down the hall.
All right.
And if you can identify him, we might be able to find out what Miller and Teufel was up to, and where Miller went.
That would suit me fine. Miller's a dirty Nazi, and he's got to be caught.
Well, nobody's been able to catch him so far. Hold it. Here's the room.
Is he still unconscious?
Yeah. Ain't woke up since they dug him out of that hole in the sand. Come on, he's in that bed there. What the?
Oh, what's the matter? Hey, there's nobody in this bed.
No, he's gone.
Gone where?
How do I know? He was right in that bed an hour ago. He was unconscious, in a coma. And now he's gone.
Holy smokes. Doctor, nurse, somebody come quick. Dr. Bruce, nurse.
Startled, Jimmy Olsen rushes out into the hospital corridor, leaving Sheriff Simpson to stare incredulously at the empty bed in which only an hour ago Superman lay in a coma, his life despaired of by the physicians. What has happened? Where is the dazed and stricken Man of Steel? Fellows and girls, our story has taken a strange new twist. Tomorrow's episode is dramatic and surprising, so don't fail to be with us when we learn the mysterious fate of Superman and find out if Sidney, the sinister fat man, succeeded in obtaining the last piece of kryptonite for Henry Miller. Tune in, same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Having defeated Superman in a titanic battle, Henry Miller, the Nazi atom man, discovered that the solution of kryptonite in his blood, which enabled him to generate atomic power within his own body, had been exhausted. Aware that a woman known as the Scarlet Widow had stolen the original kryptonite fragment, Miller contacted a sinister fat man named Sidney, who traced the widow to her hideout and demanded that she sell him her last remaining piece of the element. Meanwhile, Jimmy Olsen had been summoned to a small country hospital, where the unconscious Superman, his identity unknown, had been given only a few hours to live. But when Jimmy was led into the room in the hope that he could identify the dying man, Superman had disappeared. As we continue the next morning, Jimmy has returned to Metropolis and is in the office of Editor Perry White at the Daily Planet. Listen.
When I got into the room, Mr. White, the man, whoever he was gone. They looked all over the hospital for him and all through the grounds, but they couldn't find him.
I thought you said he was unconscious, in a coma.
Well, he was. They didn't expect him to live until morning. So how could he just get up and walk out of the hospital?
He couldn't. Somebody must have carried him out.
Oh, but they couldn't, no, without being seen. The head nurse's desk is right near the door, and somebody was on duty there all the time.
Well, maybe they took him out through the window. Didn't anybody think of that?
Well, sure, but the room is on the 3rd floor, and the fire escape is at the other end of the building.
Well, they still make ladders, don't they?
Huh? Well, sure they do, but who'd go to all that trouble, and why?
Henry Miller, of course, or somebody working with him. They found out the fellow wasn't dead, and they were afraid he'd tell who tried to kill him, and maybe what Miller and Teufel were up to, so they took him away.
Oh, the poor guy. Miller will certainly finish him this time. Gosh, when I think of those green sparks shooting out of his hand...
Oh, stop with those green sparks. It was lightning you saw. Freak storm.
No, it wasn't, Chief. I mean, Mr. White.
Of course it was. Oh, boy, how I'd like to get my hands on that Miller. Palming himself off as an American war veteran. Getting me to give him a job, and all the time he was a dirty Nazi.
What I don't understand is why he took me out to that beach cottage. I never did anything to him. Gosh, Mr. Ken and I thought he was a nice guy.
Oh, that reminds me. Kent fancies himself a great detective. Maybe he can find out what this is all about. Where is he?
Huh? Oh, I don't know. I called his apartment twice this morning. No answer.
Yeah, and it's after 10 o'clock. He's probably off on his own hook again. And if he is, he's through this time for good. I warned him.
Well, he might have gone to see his doctor. He was sick yesterday morning, you know.
Huh? Oh, yes, I forgot. Well, he ought to be along soon, then. Incidentally, remind me to tell him that John Millison wants him to call. He says it's very important.
Want me to answer?
I am still able to answer my own phone, thank you. Hello? Perry White speak. Oh, hello, Doc. Hello. No, I haven't forgotten, but Ken hasn't been in yet. Yes, I know he isn't at his apartment, and he'll probably be in soon. It's payday, and he usually condescends to drop in then. You sure I can't help you? I see. Well, all right, I'll make sure he calls you the moment he comes in. You're welcome. Goodbye. Millison again. I wonder what he's so all-fired eager to get hold of Kent for.
Oh, is that Dr. John Millison, the big scientist?
Yes. He says he must talk to Kent at once.
I just remembered. Mr. Kent sent me over to his laboratory with something a few weeks ago.
Huh? With what?
Oh, I don't know what it was. It seemed to be just a sliver of green metal, but burned when you held it in your hands. It was in a flower pot in the Scarlet Widow's apartment.
I see. Now, of course, Kent wouldn't tell me about it. I'm only his editor. I'm not supposed to know what stories he's working on until he decides to take me into his confidence. I will...
Oh, here's Mr. Kent now.
Well, it's about time. What's that outfit you've got on, Kent?
Well, what's the idea of the overalls, Mr. Kent?
Well, why don't you answer? What are you standing there for? Come in.
Yes, all right.
Well, come on, explain yourself. Where have you been? And what in tarnation is the idea of dressing up in those dirty overalls? Kent, what's the matter? Grab him, Olsen. He's going to fall.
I've got him. Here, sit down in this chair, Mr. Kent. Gosh, what's the matter? What happened?
I don't know. Since...
You don't know. Olsen, get him a glass of water.
Okay.
Never mind. Wait, there's water here in my tub.
What do you mean you don't know, Mr. Kent? Were you in an accident or something?
Accident? Yes. No.
Yes,
Don't
no.
bother him yet. Don't bother him. Here, Kent, drink this.
Oh. Thanks.
Do you feel any better now?
Yeah, I feel strange.
Strange? Well, how do you mean?
I'm weak. I'm tired. I've been walking. Walking?
Walking where?
I don't know. Just walking. I couldn't get myself up in the air.
Huh?
Hey, he's out of his mind. We've got to find out what happened to him. Now, come on, Kent. Try to pull yourself together. What happened to you? Where did you get those overalls?
From a farmer.
Farmer?
What farmer?
I met him on the road. He gave me a ride. He was a nice man. I had on pajamas. He gave me these overalls.
You were on a road somewhere in your pajamas?
Good Godfrey. Why?
I don't know. I can't remember anything after fight.
What? Oh, so that's it. He was in a fight and somebody beat his brains out. He ought to know better. He can't fight. Wait a minute. Couldn't have been in a fight. There isn't a mark on him.
Well, that's right. Gosh, what is wrong with him, Chief?
He's having a nervous breakdown, that's what. Lois was right. Superman should have left him in that rest home.
Yes, Superman.
What about Superman?
I had to come here and tell you.
You have to tell us what?
Atom Man.
Atom Man?
Yes, Miller. I must stop.
Eh? Are you talking about Henry Miller?
Yes, he's Atom Man. Box on his throat. Power.
He's nutty as a squirrel. Olson, call up.
I know what he means. He means Miller's the Atom Man.
What? Now, look here, Olson. Don't you go crazy, too.
That must be it. Those sparks shooting out of Miller's hands. And he was a Nazi, and he was with Teufel. And before Teufel escaped to Germany with the kryptonite, he said he was going to create an Atom Man to destroy Superman. Well, that was why Mr. Kent was so worried. Don't you remember?
Yes, I remember all right. Kent wouldn't listen to me, and he worried himself into a nervous breakdown. An Atom Man destroying Superman. I've heard enough of that nonsense from Kent. Now, I don't want to hear any more of it from you.
But
I said stop it. Works out of his mind, and now you want to drive me batty, too.
But he just said Henry Miller was the Atom Man.
Does he act like he knows what he's talking about? He must have seen a headline about Miller being on that beach with Teufel, and so now he thinks that Miller is an Atom Man. I'm going to take him to my own doctor right now, and then maybe I'll take him to Florida. If he'd listened to me, he'd gone there last week.
There's a box on his throat.
Yes.
Power.
Sure. Now, come on, Kent. Up on your feet, boy. Now, you come with me, and I'll take care of you.
All right.
Answer the phone, Olson. And if it's for me, say I'm out. Don't know when I'll be back. Let Lois and Burroughs handle things.
Okay. Mr. White's office. Jim Olson speaking.
Now, you come along, Kent. I'm here now, and you'll be all right.
Oh, hello, Dr. Millison. Mr. Kent? Oh, no, he was in, but he just went out again. He's sick. But he couldn't call you, Dr. Millison. Do I know how to get in touch with Superman? Are you kidding? I mean, excuse me, of course I don't. Yes, I'll tell Mr. Kent as soon as I see him again. Okay, bye. Asking me if I can get in touch with Superman. Huh? Some people must think he works here or something.
Replacing the phone, Jimmy Olsen looks anxiously after the dazed, staggering Clark Kent, who is being led away by Perry White. Why is Dr. Millison, the famous scientist who was unable to help Superman defend himself against the power of the kryptonite, now so eager to contact him? We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. Shortly after the dazed Superman in his guise of Clark Kent was led from the Daily Planet by his anxious editor, Sidney, the sinister fat man, wedged himself into a phone booth in a drugstore and made a call.
Hello, this is Sidney. Put him on the phone.
Hello, this is Miller.
Quiet. I know who you are.
Oh, yeah, listen, did you get the...
Just come here. Haven't you any sense? Of course I got it.
Good, that's wonderful.
Our party was cautious, so it took longer than I expected. But everything's arranged. Now pay attention. Don't interrupt. Zito knows where to take you. You'll fix your hair and your clothes as he directs before you leave. You understand?
Yes. Where are we going to...
I said don't interrupt. You have the formula written down.
Yes.
Well, bring it with you. We'll find out if it works. I'll meet you. That's all. Boots are too small.
Extricating himself with difficulty from the phone booth, Sidney waddles through the crowded drugstore to the street, his moonlike face showing no sign of the greedy eagerness in his fat body. For in his overcoat pocket, wrapped in lead foil and clutched tightly in his pudgy hand, is a small piece of green glowing radioactive kryptonite, the deadly element which, when dissolved and injected into Henry Miller's blood, will transform him once more into an atomic monster, able to destroy anything in his path. What will happen? Will Miller's formula, which he says he received from his father, dissolve the kryptonite? And what of Superman escaping death by only a miracle, and now dazed and helpless? Fellows and girls, Monday's episode is tense and exciting, so don't miss it.
Tune in, same time, same station for the adventures of Superman.